Hi, I'm Gavin. So what we're going to do today, we're going to make what I'd call the ultimate USB installer. Obviously, jumping around on different distributions and stuff like that, you don't want to keep formatting drives. So to do it, we're going to use 3 bits of software. Ventoy, which is the main thing that we'll do this with. But what we're also going to do, we're going to make some installations of Windows 10 and Windows 11 that are stripped of all the weird bits. So for anybody on Mac Pros and Mac Pro 5.1s, this is quite useful. So Rufus is an app. It gives you an installation of a Windows 10 and 11 that strips out BitLocker, things like that, the TMP and some of the restrictions Microsoft puts on it. And then we're going to use a thing called AnyBurn, which we're going to use to make a new ISOs out of what Rufus creates. How that makes sense. Anyway, you should do as we go through. So what you'll need, some prerequisites for this, is you'll need to have downloaded the latest version of Windows 11 and the latest version of Windows 10. Now, I've got them there as Windows 10, that installed AnyBurn as well. So you download AnyBurn, install it. Rufus you don't need to install. And yeah, so basically I'd back up those copies because we're going to tweak these. So put those two ISOs in a separate folder because we're actually going to tweak them. So first thing, you need a USB key for this, an 8 gig one. This is your one that you're going to make. You need to burn a USB with Rufus in order to extract its contents. So here you go, Rufus, fire up, select your ISO, which is Windows 10. Click open, and then make sure I've got a 64 gig one in there, but you could use any size. The one you use for Ventoy, it should be huge because you're going to put loads of ISOs on there. And that's as simple as that, and then just start it. And now it'll ask you a few questions. So create local account, set region details, disable data collection, skip privacy questions, and disable BitLocker. So this is Windows 10. There's a few more when it comes to Windows 11. Some weird pop-up box. It doesn't make any difference to this. I don't know why it was. Probably because of what I had on the USB previously, but okay. And move on as quickly as possible from this. Come on, click OK. I think there's another one about destroying all your data that comes up. OK and OK. Now, whilst these things are loading, I'll do it on the second one actually because the Windows 11 takes a bit longer than this one. But basically, if you're a Mac Pro 5.1 user, I mean, I've got one. You've seen a lot of my videos. I've been fiddling around with the Mac Pro 5.1 for yonks. It's really hard to get Windows 11 on there. So the way I always do it is basically go to Windows 10, Rufus Windows 10, install it. And then when we make the USB key for Windows 11, what I normally do is copy the Rufus version of Windows 11 off the USB key, put it locally on the Windows 10 drive, and then upgrade internally in Windows 10 to Windows 11 on a Mac 5.1. Anyway, that's just another point. For all the rest of you watching who don't have Mac Pro 5.1, so you don't know, don't worry about it. But if you've got older hardware, obviously, and you want to get Windows 10 or 11 on there, then this is the way to do it. So it's just going to burn the ISO here. So yeah, I mean, I sort of came up with this a while ago. I mean, this software's been around, Ventoy's been around for ages. It was a revelation because I distro hop, like install all sorts of weird and wonderful things on my machines. And you end up with this gigantic pile of USB keys. And I can never remember what was on what, but this, all you need really is to buy the biggest USB 3 U2. I've got 250 I use, and you get a lot of distributions on there. And then basically, once you've got this thing set up, you're good to go. As long as you don't do what I did the other day, which is accidentally try and install Linux over the top of this and wipe out all of your ISOs, which is probably the reason I'm making this video, because I thought, well, I've got to do it again, so I might as well record it. So yeah, so this is chugging away quite merrily, 48%. But yeah, it's a very handy way of doing it, this. And you could just sort of, the way I've got my machine configured, I've got one spare drive, one main drive, which has got Bazite on it. And basically, then I've got one drive with Windows. I don't really use it to play a bit of Doom, that size of it, Steam, stuff like that. But then I use external SSDs, just plugged at the back, to install all the different operating systems on to play around with. And basically, you know, it's really easy. I'll show you later on what you can do in this. You can switch off all the hard drives internally on this rig and then basically install to external. I mean, obviously other people have different configurations to do this, but it's always good to have like two drives, two SSDs anyway, or a spare drive internally or externally that you can mess around on. But mind you, none of my installations stay alive forever because I'm always writing scripts, Linux scripts and stuff. I'm always breaking it. So, I mean, if I install an operating system twice a week, it's a quiet week. I've just been trying to write a script last night to help some guy install some kind of M2 video capture card into Bazzite. And I managed to destroy one of my installations of Bazzite, so I had to start again from scratch. So yeah, hang on. It's taking its time here. 94, 93. So what I'll do straight away after this is I'll jump in to show you what you need to do next. So remember, this is formatting an external USB to become a Windows 10 installation disk, Internet installation USB. So normally you just pop this out, plug it back in the machine, and off you go. But what we're going to do now, we're going to copy its contents and make a new ISO that we can put onto Ventoy. And we do that. Here we are. It's all there. But we want to make this stripped version into an ISO. So we need to use AnyBurn to do this. So click on that. It's free, by the way, this, and you click Edit Image File. And then you find your original Windows 10 ISO, open it. Next. And that's the contents. So you just collect all the stuff that's inside it already, inside the ISO, and remove it. Yep. And then you navigate, add to your external USB, your one that you've created with Rufus, and you add all that back in. So just select all that, add, yep, and now you go next. And then basically what I'm doing is, if I backed it up, I'm going to overwrite the Win 10 there. So create new, and it'll give me a warning about overwriting it. When I figured this out, because when I did it, I thought, oh, and now, yeah, so we're going to rewrite over the top of it. So there you go. So now it's going to recreate the Windows 10 ISO, but with the insides of the Rufus version. I know this sounds nuts, but it's the simplest way I've found to do this. You can't get Rufus to burn ISOs, so you need to do, but you want the Rufus version because it's been tweaked to bypass all the Microsoft restrictions. So off it goes. Don't know how long this takes. A little bit of time possibly. I'm sat on 90%. Install history, that's the biggest file. I don't know what it's doing here. Something really technical, but something very useful. So that's okay. So let's let it do this. If you want to know how to build this machine, I made a video about it. This is my 9060 XT Minis Forum cube box thing. There's a video on there. It's great. It cost about £1,000 to build the whole thing, and it's absolutely brilliant. If you play games at 1440p, I mean, it was £1,000. I'm looking at the price of, some of the video cards you're looking at these days are in the region of that much money, but the 9060 XT is a brilliant video card from AMD. 16 gigs. Great. I've got a 5060 Ti in another machine, but I like this rig for some bizarre reason because it's AMD. I mean, hopefully, here we go. Oh, I'll come back to my talk in a second, and that's done. So that's your Windows 10 ISO created. So exit. Now we basically repeat the entire process now. There it is, Windows 10. So now we have to repeat it. He says, go back up to Rufus. And we're just going to overwrite the Windows 10 USB. So I haven't even taken it out. So double click. There's a black because it's trying to do some stupid thing with Windows there. Okay, select. And now we're going to select the Windows 11. There it is. And we're just going to go and do exactly the same thing. There'll be a lot more warnings before this one does it. Quick format, create, yeah. Start, here we go. So click start. There we are. Remove requirement for 4. Remove this. Create local account. Set region. Disable. Blah 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 blah. All that. Right. Just get rid of all that. It's a much slicker. I'm going to do the installation of Windows 11. Just show it's a bit slicker installation. And then off it goes. So now I'll rewrite that one. So yeah. So there you go. So yeah. So this is the 9060 XT. It's got 16 gig, but it's a Minis Forum motherboard. It's the one with the chip that's basically soldered on. It's like it's a laptop chip. 16 threads, 32 threads, 16 cores. But it's really, really fast. I mean, for £1,000, I mean, as I was saying earlier on, you can get like, some of the graphics cards are like £700, £800. I mean, this is just fantastic. I've got a Dell. I think I've done a video on this as well. There's a Dell. I've got a Dell 8960, which is about the equivalent of this. But when you bought that, it was like nearly £2,000, and it only came with a 4060. Anyway, the 4060's gone, and there's a 5060 Ti in there. It's great, but the main thing is I digressed. Hopefully, SteamOS will come out in the future with support. The Mesa M-E-S-A version will be over 25 at some point, and that means I can turn this entire machine, or one of the SSDs, completely into a Steam machine. So SteamOS, which is Arch. I mean, I love Bazzite. Bazzite's phenomenal, but I honestly think the future really is if Valve needs to get that operating system sorted out, so we can all use it. So I'm gonna speed this bit up. Here we go. So I'm speeding this bit up a bit. Not that much. I'm just trying to speed it up, but I think I just put that 400%. I can't be bothered to go back. Here we go. It's got a bit quicker. Yeah, obviously a bit bigger Windows 11 than a Windows 10 anyway. I think Windows 10's EOL, end of life. Yeah, they've got rid of it, but it's still good to have it around. You never know when if you work with old machines and fiddle with old equipment, it's handy to have it. Here we go. It's going to get there very quickly, doing it. And it's done. There we go. Great. Okay, so same routine again. We're going to close that. We're going to launch AnyBurn. And then we're going to go to Edit Image. We're going to find our original Windows 11 ISO. Open. Same thing. Select the contents of it. Remove it. Navigate to the USB we've just flashed, which is there. And then we're going to copy that or add it. Click next again. He says. There we go. And then create now. There you go. And yes, so this will now rewrite this back over it. So when this eventually finishes, we'll have a Win 11 ISO and a Win 10 ISO, which were basically made in Rufus, but they're ISOs. So there you go. That's gone pretty quick. What's the credits text thing? I have no idea what half these files are anyway. I mean, we don't need to do it. We just don't. It's not our job. Know what they put inside these things. Yeah. And then we can actually get onto the bit with Ventoy. I mean, if you want to use Ventoy for just Unix distributions, you don't need to do any of this. But it's always handy to have a copy of Windows around, isn't it? Even if you don't want to use it. I mean, so yeah. So here we go. And I'll take you through the Ventoy part of it afterwards. I'm sure that credits text can't be that big. It's doing something weird, isn't it? Come on, you can do it. 68, 69, 68. Interesting. So yeah, so that AnyBurn program's free. Anyway, that's done it now. So that's free to download from their website. I'll put the links in the description for you. exit. Okay, now we're good to go. Now we've got Windows 10, Windows 11, and now all we need to do is set up for Ventoy. Now, that's what I said, I'd keep this one handy. I'd just eject this. Yeah, just eject that. Keep it if you want, and then, you know, use it if you're on a Mac 5.1. Copy it back in, as I've mentioned earlier on. All right, so let's jump over and let's have a look at Ventoy. All right, so we're back in. I popped in a USB, the big one, the one that we want to use, and let's have a look at it. It's a Patriot or something, and it's 256 gig. Obviously, 512s. You can put those on there as well. Whatever big, however big you want it to fit all your ISOs onto. And then you just go into Ventoy and you do the Ventoy to disk exe. It comes up with this. Click install, yes. And it says double check, yes. And basically, there is Patriot memory. It'll install itself onto that USB stick. Great. And that's done. Now, all of a sudden, you'll see over there, you see a Ventoy has appeared. Ventoy has appeared as D on my. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the two Windows ISOs. Copy. Onto the D drive. And it's really cool, this. It's like a partition that sits. It's expat. So you can actually do this on Mac. You can use it on a Mac. And it works on Linux as well, because Linux is everything seems to read expat. So basically, you could just keep piling on no matter where you are. Because what I sometimes do is I download Linux distributions on one of my Linux machines, and then basically plug this into that and copy them over, or I actually download them on my Mac, and I can just put a USB-C adapter on the front of the USB key and just copy it over. It's quite quick. Now, I'll be able to warn you about this. I'm actually the machine we're using now to record this on, I'm going to flatten it in a minute, because it's absolutely doing the weirdest things. When I try to copy things over on it, it's just throwing a wobbly. So, I mean, I'm just going to basically wipe it and put a clean installation. Here we go. I've got an ISO directory. I'll put Bazite deck and another Bazite thing on it, but I'm going to just jump very quickly to a much bigger version of what I'm going to install, but just to show you. So you've got your Windows ones in there. Now paste in the rest of your ISOs. And I think this is what I mean. This is going to start to copy. I don't know what is going on with it. It started doing this recently. And it just sort of, is it this? Or there's a file I did, or small files. It's just useless at copying, but it is starting to grind as well. Every time I open Google Chrome on this, it flattens it. And it's just becoming a bit of a liability, really. It's crashed twice in Doom Dark Ages, and that's not acceptable. So, yeah, that's done it. Okay, and here we go. I've just jumped in and sped this up. I'm just dumping a ton of ISOs. Ubuntu, Mint, Ubuntu Cinnamon, Ubuntu Studio. What else have I got going on there? Bazite NVIDIA version. Bazite NVIDIA Open, CachyOS, Fedora KDE, Leap, which is OpenSUSE, Manjaro, MX. What else have I got? Nobara, Pop, that's good OS, Rocky, another version, Ubuntu 24, and there you go. And also, very quickly, you can also copy the drivers on here. This is where you go really bad. I'm going to copy the drivers because I'm going to reinstall Windows 11 onto this machine. I'm going to copy the drivers this motherboard needs onto that partition. Doesn't show up in Ventoy, so it's quite clever. You can put your drivers in here as well. Anyway, here we go. So let's reboot and basically set, standard thing. And this is what boots up. It's your boot USB. So obviously you have to set boot from USB and go down the bottom, Windows 11 International. You can see all the other ones are just copied over. There it is. And we'll start that, boot in normal mode. And now we'll just go through our Windows installation. I thought it was interesting to do this though, because it's one of these things where it's very different than a normal. So we ask you all these stupid questions. So next, install Windows 11. Yeah, I took a moment there. I agree to everything. No, I don't, Microsoft. I agree to some things, but not everything. I'll come back and put the product key in a bit. Not going to do that. I may flatten this again. I may end up removing Windows from this machine totally. I'm not using it that much these days. So I don't have a product key at the moment. Well, I do, but I'm not going to put it in. So there we go. So I want to put in Windows 11 Pro. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody watching this has seen a Windows installation before, but this is slightly different because it skips a lot of stuff. So whatever, Microsoft, yes. And then it'll start to do, it'll look for the disk, because remember it's going to install over the top of Windows. It's going to have to get rid of all these partitions. So partition 0, disk 0, sorry, delete, is my old Windows installation. So delete, get rid of that one. Oh, I didn't do it. Come on. So I'm just literally going to flatten the partitions off and then let it do its thing again from scratch. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on with this drive. It's started to really, it started to really misbehave. Mind you, put a lot of stuff on it. Python, all sorts. I've been writing all sorts of code on here. And there's my allocated space. So we're going to install it to that and let it do its thing. Keep nothing. And off it goes. So yeah, so I'm capturing this through a Blackmagic, what is it? Video assist unit out the back of the machine. So it's like 800 by 600. It's defaulting to, I don't know what it was, 1080 by 60 hertz. So I have no idea what speed this is being recorded at. Here we go. Here we go. I may speed this up for you. Hold on a second. Okay, so I've speeded this right up. Here we go. It'll do a reboot. There we go. Reboot. Come back in again. Here we go. Back in. Reboot in. Doing an installation thing. And then it goes to that screen when it asks you the questions. Here we go. Just a moment. Checking for updates. Good things are coming. Apparently Microsoft, I don't think so. Reboots again. Hi, getting things ready for you. Might take, don't turn it off. God, this is horrendous. And we're in. Okay, there we go. Me fiddling around at high speed. Now, here's the bit. I popped to the USB, the Ventoy disk, and I've gone into the D drive. There we go. And there it is. That's my Minis Forum drivers. So I could just now go into this, go in, and we'll start, and we load up the chipset driver. That should find any weird and wonderful things that's on this motherboard and start it off. It's still, obviously, it's not detected. It does actually detect it's like a 4K display, but it's because it's going through the Blackmagic capture thing. It's just standard. I don't mind. Here we go. So it's in, starts to install it. And it starts to install the hardware. And there you go. So that's really how that bit works. So what I'll do now, I'm going to jump out of this. We'll reboot. I'm going to go into the chipset and then I'll install, yeah, that's all great. Yeah, Ryzen overclocking. Yeah, so I'll jump out of this now and we'll go and have a look at rebooting, and I'm going to install CachyOS to an external USB drive. Okay, so I'm going to reboot my machine, go into the BIOS, onboard devices, PCI ports, and then switch off SSD 1, and they're both disabled now. So that means when I boot this, it'll boot, I'll put the USB stick in there. It'll boot it back into Ventoy. But what I'll do is I'm going to install CATCHY OS onto an external USB-C drive, USB-C 4 or whatever it is. So here we go. So let's go down and find CATCHY. There it is, that one. No, just showing off my ISOs there, aren't I? CATCHY, great. Normal boot. Up it comes, straight into CATCHY, click that. Off it goes and starts to install. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't want to sit through a gigantic installation thing again. But there you go. You know, that's a pretty cool, once you've got that USB sorted out, you've got a really good thing basically to carry on. You know, every time you want to change, if you want to jump between Linux distributions, they're all there. If you want to install Windows 10, Windows 11, it's all there. You don't have to keep looking around. You have to have 10 USBs. I mean, if I had to do that without that piece of software, that Ventoy piece of software, what's that, 14, 15 ISOs I've got in there? That's 14, 15, 40, 50 USB sticks I have to keep track of, which isn't going to happen. So here we are. It's in CATCHY. Anyway, so I'm not going to go through this all the way with you. You sort of get the general idea what you can do. So yeah, so that's fundamentally a pretty cool USB boot up thing that you can use whatever you like. And obviously, if you buy an adapter, because not everything's got USB, the old USB sockets in, we can buy an adapter, you can use it for anything. So yeah, so that's it. Any questions you've got, like and subscribe, all that sort of business. Any questions you've got, ask them in the comments. Thanks for watching.